Um, so videos for me are just like what this woman said. It's a way to kind of vent and speak up. As isolated as I am, it is important for me to put things in perspective. So videos help me put things in perspective, expressing myself, put things in perspective. There are people contracted to literally create an alternate reality. Their job is to truly paint a picture that is so falsified and create a reality that's so delusional. Is to try to make you believe a reality that is so BS. And of course, if you weren't as isolated, if you weren't being manipulated, you will never go with this retardation, especially with the information that you have. You know what this is about. You know what they do. You know the patterns of what they've done to others, and you know the patterns of what the entities contracting these bottom feeders have been doing. You are so validated that in life, I don't think you will ever have validation of that nature. You'll never. And so you see what they do for what they're doing. You see that their job is to try to break you to accept a falsified reality. And I think they help themselves too by creating this fantasy. They really have to trigger themselves into believing this false reality and make themselves as childlike as possible and create these ways to cope with reality. It's obvious as a target individual, you are no longer yourself. At that point, they are manipulating you in ways that you would not experience naturally. It's obviously a manipulation. And they contract perps whose job is to make the noise campaign they need to interrupt, disorient you, to get you into a fantasy of reality they put together. And for me, when I make videos, it's just, first of all, it's just a warning of a sense that please understand that if I can describe what you're doing to me, it's because I can obviously what you're trying to create. You think that I will one day subscribe to it, but it's a big mistake that I don't want you to make. Because I'm scared that I will react a way that I don't want to react. Now, what did they do? For example, right now they did a few things. There's a baby. I've donated money to a man and his family. The man is no longer alive, but his family is still alive. The man died from a mass shooting that TI caused. He has a daughter, a 2-year-old baby. And it's so sad that this 2-year-old girl will never see her dad. And the reason why her dad is dead is because a man who was put in the same program that I'm in has been pushed to the level of just ended up killing people. That's the biggest mistake you can do as a TI. I don't think there's any benefit from that, but I understand why that happens. You push people into that level, you disturb them to that level, they're gonna react certain ways. Some people are gonna react aggressively and take the most extreme ways of reactions. But you understand the people who try to push him to this, who are pushing that person to these reactions are not the people who are most likely gonna get harmed or hurt. It's gonna be some coward, some lowlife, sitting somewhere comfortably, pushing an individual to lose his mind to the point of killing. In October 25th, it happened. A man killed 18 people because he was hearing voices. The voices were calling him a pedophile. He obviously didn't like to be called that. He found it, and they destroyed, like it made him aggressive. And he reacted in an aggressive way. The man who's a target individual is Robert Card. This man was a gun instructor. He ended up killing 18 people with this gun. He was very well trained with guns. He knows how to use guns. So he goes somewhere where he believes, where the people are talking, insulting him this way, are. Killed 18 altogether. Actually, some of the people he killed, one is a child, one is a father of their child. So father and son killing there. Now, for me, I said, I'm not gonna let this trash involved in this program live in this deluded reality. I donated money to one of the people who died because he had just a 2-year-old baby. And this baby will never see her father. He's not the only one with kids. I donate to multiple people, but seeing the little girl is sad. So I decided to donate. They sent me a update, and you see this little girl, extremely cute, like adorable, like just a chubby big cheeks, like, and just she kind of looks like her father, very much looked like her father actually. She got a big cheek and it's just like a adorable kid. Now, that picture is now a picture that I use in my social profile pictures, right? Because I know that the people involved in this program want to create this fantasy, and I don't want them to escape. But one thing they've been doing for me systematically, and done to others, is they do the pedophilia type of torture. They didn't want to be aggressive with the baby because they didn't want to make it that obvious. So they slowly start creating thoughts that become pedophilia centric. And the way they start like increasing things is just disgusting. And they call it mapping. When in reality, it's just to train and slowly gauge your brain into thinking about kids in sexual way. They're literally finding ways to do this, to make you think about kids in different disgusting ways, right? But slowly, because they want you to identify with this, right? And then they find a language to try to make it sound like they're just not doing that. Oh no, we're mapping. We're making you think a way that you thought when you were a kid or something like that. Stupidity. But the reality, they are slowly tweaking your brain to react a certain way. The goal is to make you accept this as if it's something organic. The goal is to make you subscribe to this, identify with this, and feel guilty for this feeling. I don't feel guilty because I know it's what they make me experience, but I don't like to experience it. It's disgusting. Because now what they're doing, for example, with this baby, slowly, they try to do something that is not sexual, but a reaction that is still forced. Because she got some chubby cheek, big cheeks, they give me this feeling of like, give me this feeling of like just wanting to buy those chubby cheeks. And that reminds me of my sister, because I have a sister who loves children, right? And when she saw like very adorable babies with like big chicks, like, oh my God, I want to buy this baby. So cute. Look at the big chicks. I want to buy them. You know, she would do this like, oh my God. She loved babies, and she was great with babies. And so they kind of give me the same feeling. And I'm like, she's so disgusting, because they slowly want to transition it into something sexual. And they try to make me feel guilty. See that? It's like, oh, if anything, I would love to, like, she have those, like, big chick you want to kiss on. She's like, oh, boop, boop. But they try to slowly turn into something sexual. And so they start with non-sexual, but still kind of, like, intense. And then transitioning into something sexual, tweaking it a little bit, slowly to the point where it's fully disturbing sexually. And so for me, I recognize that, and like, now we mapped it. You see, now you mapped it. You feel like this. Like, no, I know what you're trying to do. I've looked at a big chubby chick of like, oh my God, I want to, you know. But they change into the way, for example, my sister, which I understand what she meant when they switch, you know, like a chipmunk chicks. Like, oh my God, so cute. And that when they did that, they reminded me of my sister, how she reacted when she saw very adorable babies with like big cheeks and stuff like that. She was like, oh, she's like, oh my gosh. She would start like, oh my gosh, she's so cute. I just want to bite this. And she would like act so crazy because she loved babies that much. Now, I know what they're trying to do. They want to slowly transition it in more sexual way. And then you have this trash, this bottom feeders, who then slowly try to not slowly, but open the door and try to, now we map their scenes. Like, you piece of bunch of low-life pedophiles. I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to slowly turn it into something sexual. I get it. You give me that feeling, so then you can make even more, not even more, but you try to turn it into something sexual. I see where it's going. But they try to be like, no, we mapped it. No. And then give me a weird sensation, then go crank it up. And then it's like, no, but remember, like, when you were a kid, you felt this. And giving me then stimulation, sexual stimulation. It's like, no, we felt, you remember when you were like 13, 12? You mapped it. Now, this piece of shit then act a certain way. It's like, oh, stop, he's gonna die for it, stop. they talk to me via V2K in these ways to try to get me to accept these things. Now, what they're doing that for is because I am showing this picture to people who want to forget the reality of what they're part of. I'm not going to stop doing that. It will still be the picture I show on my profile pictures. I won't let that go. You will have to see what you're part of and how it impacts people. You're part of this. However you make me look at these adorable little girls, chubby chicks, and try to transition this thing, I'm not going to. I'd rather die in hell than be involved in a program that caused this little baby to not have a child. Sorry, it caused this little baby to not have a father. They try to kind of confuse me. Death in hell is nothing in comparison to being involved in this. And now what they're doing is slowly playing my genitals, giving me sensations, stimulations, which they're going to try to make noise campaign to make me accept. Sorry, they're going to make noise campaign to try to make me subscribe to this. These trash are the nothings that are tasked to do these things. I'd rather die in this hell than having to live my life in these ways. Now, why am I so validating life? As they're mapping all these retardation way to try to make me believe that this is happening naturally. What they do to children has been seen. This 2-year-old is not the youngest child they could have tortured. They torture people as young as 3 weeks old. They have tortured children 3 years old sexually. 4 and 5-year-old. I'm giving this specific example because those specific example they've been testified. They torture babies in sexual ways that are disgusting. But most importantly too, not only they torture babies in ways that are not only sexual and others like suffocations, getting them sick, they manipulate the brain of target individuals in ways that you look at kids and it turns into something sexual, disturbing you. They are nasty bottom feeders who are contracted to make you accept this manipulation, but who contract this low life is even add to the validations. Not only you hear that other target individuals saying how they manipulate us to thinking disgusting ways. This woman was smelling baby powder, and that they start creating a pedophilia type of reaction just by smelling baby powder. Now, her testimony is up there. You can hear it, and that's that. This trash who empowers this low life, who gives them the power to be somethings, they are contracted by entities. This program is run by the Department of Defense. This is Department of Defense technology applied onto us. The Department of Defense have had a long run of pedophilia issues, which has been called out in 2008 by this child pornography protectors of like children and something like they basically child protective entity that reviews and ranks the different network in this country by the amount of child porn that is shared. Guess what? The Department of Defense out of 3,000 are ranked top tier, 19th out of 3,000. Top tier ranking, and they've been having top tier ranking consistently, showing that they are top tier in regard of sharing child porn within this network of the Department of Defense internet network. Do you understand how disgusting it is? Because they are working for entities where pedophilia is disgusting, while this trash manipulate your brain and tell you, no, what we're doing, we're just mapping, or you feel like that when you feel, and literally feel you feel the changes in the manipulations. So by every ways, they've been humiliated by reality. Matter of fact, there's actually a bill that they tried to pass to stop this thing. Didn't work out, of course. Stop there, never heard of it again. The bill was just to try to kind of help out this issue, see how they can stop this a little bit, or try to kind of not end. It will probably not end, but just kind of slow it down. Didn't happen. Didn't go through. It was introduced, and that was it. That's that. Dead. Now you hear bottom feeders who use these nonsensical ways of trying to make you accept to this. Try to make you believe that no, you know what we do is protect children. No, you're not. Matter of fact, for entities that protect children, you and the entities contracting you have called out the fact that the entities that runs you low lives have been having issues with pedophilia for a long time. So I know that your job is to not protect children. Matter of fact, is to do the opposite. Matter of fact, you're trying to train my brain to start looking at kids instead of this adorable, endearing way, wholesome way. It becomes something sexual. And you're slowly trying to change this thing and try to make me accept, but slowly tweaking it to change slowly the reactions. And then try to make me subscribe to this. They are finding ways to control how they can manipulate people to think about children these ways. They are developing tactics of slowly making the brain think about children these ways. This is their life right now. This is what they're living for. It is so disgusting, but that is truly what they do. And then they tell me how they're going to frame me by implanting child porn on my computer, which is exactly what they do, or have these retards, these children, who are going to say something about me doing something to them, and they're going to frame me in that way. I don't know where every once in a while I hear somebody tell me their age, like some kids, like, no, I'm 13 years old, I'm 16, I'm like, ugh. And basically, I'm supposed to get out of it that I'm having some interaction with these people because they have control of my phones, right? They can have, they can make it seem like I'm texting this person. My phone is so hacked. I mean, it's just, I have two phones. Actually, no, I have one phone. But it's hacked. I have multiple, it's hacked. And I can feel, I can see my phone just like moving sometime, and I was like, oh my gosh. And if these people have the technology to hack your brain, they can hack every device on earth that you have. So they tell me how they're framing out, and they're like, no, we have actually met, we're talking to each other right now. Let me send a message, right? Saying that's how they're gonna frame me. Now, you heard what I just said. There's a pattern of pedophilia. These agencies have had issues, and not only the Department of Defense, the intelligence community too. So in every ways, these people are connected with entities with a lot of pedophiles and a lot of pedophilia. And you hear these people telling you that now what we're doing, we mapped it. Now they try to use these tactics of using the gender. In this program, you're gonna hear a lot about women calling out the fact that the people interacting with me via V2K, there's a lot of females. There's a lot of women involved. Time after time you hear that. Some people, because they have this way to create this psyop. They want you to believe that they're everything but this mass government that have this problem with pedophilia. Some people believe that it's like a cult where these women are running this cult. Obviously, that's not the case. Obviously, is this governmental entity utilizing this purpose to do what they do to get the results of what they need to. The cult things and all that is the way they try to portray this thing happening. Just like for me, they try to portray themselves as this like femme fatale, evangelists. In this program, that happens to just torture a lot of women, but also children. You understand how stupid they want me to think? And so they're like, no, but it's a she who's matching one of the languages. She's mapping you because she's a she. I'm supposed to be like, oh my gosh, if because she's a she, she's not manipulating me to have this disturbing reaction toward children. She won't do that. It's a she. And I've heard testimonials of women literally saying, when I'm being raped in my bed, there's this woman talking to me and say that, saying things to me, you're not praying right because prayer helps them. She calls out the fact that it's a she talking to her. When this woman said that I'm being in this program where they rape me and do all this thing, the people behind this are women. Now, I know gender doesn't change. The gender is male and woman, is anybody. But to me, they want me to somehow believe that. And dumb myself down to the level they've accepted to dumb themselves down to cope with the reality of what they're part of. You know what? How sad it is now, because the person who was trying to pass this bill to end this issue, not even to end, to try to stop this issue with child porn, one of the person was this woman. Obviously, it didn't pass. It's actually two women and one man. Meadow from the House, some other woman, and and the senator who was a woman. And there's multiple people, which two of them were women. I think one was the first one who started writing about it, another one wrote about it, then other men came in and stuff like that. Obviously, it didn't go anywhere. They were trying to end or stop these child porn issues going on in these agencies, specifically in the DOD, actually, not in the agencies. The agency was another issue that didn't even come up until later on. And so, like, you see, that's a woman. So you see, it's like, listen, target individual has spoken about the fact there's a lot of females doing this. I know women like you are involved in torturing even women and even their children. You're not gonna make me look at you because you're a woman. I believe that you are doing good or you're protecting. No, trash. Your gender does not make you a good person. Your gender doesn't stop you from being compromised, you piece of shit. You're trash to even try to use that. Especially knowing that you're in a program where there's a lot of women. I don't know the percentage, but there's a high percentage of women. So I know what you do to women. And I know what women have said. And even the pedophilia type of torture have been mentioned by them, specifically calling it pedophilia type of torture. That's why I'm using this language. And then they try to be like, no, but you're going to pay for what you did as a kid. Where they try to make it seem like, no, we mapped it to that. That's what you felt like. No, I didn't feel like that. You try to manipulate my memories of me as a child. While you are in a program where not only torture children, but the entities contracting you to be part of this program, or the program you're participating in is run by entities like the DOD that have an issue with pedophilia. You are here trying to make me experience something in my childhood that I didn't experience and manipulate my memories of a child while you are working for adults, grown men who are sharing child porn at a high rate, to the point that what they call top tier, like pedophiles, throughout this whole entities, sharing each other child porn. I mean, when I say a high rate, my point is, even if it's a slow rate, it's not what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say that it's such a problem that they try to pass a bill. That it's not like just a random one or two person. That is a true ongoing issue. And you think I'm going to let you live your fantasy and talk about me as a kid and then manipulate my brain in these disgusting ways and then try to know what we do? We just map your brain. It's like me looking, okay, you see all the obvious problems. Like, no, but I'm doing this, that, this. But in reality, right here, it's like people download thousands of child porn on a computer. We're like, oh, no, but if you take this there, you take that there, you take that there, then this. Oh, you feel this? See, that's proof. Well, here it's like top tier ranks child porn. And then they're like, no, you're going to die for what you did as a kid. As a child, I did some dumb thing. No sensation of that initial reaction. It was just a kid who just did an impulsive thing that I honestly did not even remember. Because as a kid, when you do impulsive things that don't even mean anything to you, you're not going to remember. And they try to exaggerate to try to make themselves feel better. Because the reality is they actually do horrible things to children. This 2-year-old who no longer have a father lost her father because of T.I. lost his mind because this trash can push you to that level. But they have tortured babies younger than her. And now telling you, no, we're mapping to you when you were a kid. I'll never let them live the fantasy. They are manipulating my brain. I'm no longer myself. This adorable little baby is now slowly being turned into something nasty and sexual. Even try to mimic my sister's reaction when she sees like adorable babies, which, you know, like when you're like, oh my gosh, like, and I'm like, that's what my sister was like. You tried to create that in me. And not to say that she was saying that in a sexual way, of course not. She just, like, oh my gosh, she's overwhelming. Oh. But they're slowly then turning into something sexual. It's so nasty. So to all my target individual, I make videos and express myself like that. It's venting for me at this point, because they want you to accept this way of thinking. They want you to think this way of thinking. They want you to accept this ways of thinking. And then you hear these retards. I mean, some of them are truly children. Because these ways of thinking is a way a child will easily get to. Adults need to trick themselves a little bit more than kids. The more mature you are, the harder it is to make yourself this dumb. The more childlike you are, the easier it is to get to that level. It is embarrassing. And now they create these ways and they're tweaking around. It's like a game. It's more like, they like to call it war, but it feels more like a game. Like a fun game where how can we tweak around things and change things around and slowly change into something sexual toward this kid. That's why it feels like. That they are just kind of playing with your brain and see, okay, if we do this here, move this here, this. Like, it's like a little puzzle that they can play together, that can create and make things up. And you're like, okay, if we add this here, we add this a little bit here, to this, then start with this a little bit, then we're going to slowly increase. That's what I feel my brain is, what's happening in my brain. Like, they're like slowly tweaking things around to change, for an end result to have sexual reaction toward children. It is nasty. And then they're like, oh no, what we're doing, we just map it to you to when you were a kid. She's like, Jesus. And you hear the sirens and everything else. This is part of just like trying to box in these ways of thinking. And you're in your mid to late 30s and you have some trash who's renowned, who's in a program that's renowned to do the pedophilia type of torture. Try to tell you that we mapped it to you as a kid. Or try to convince you that they mapped it to you when you were a child. And you're like, you're dumb. You think I'll ever let you live your fantasy? There is a whole bill about how pedophilia-centric you guys are. To all my target individuals, stay strong.